they found us.
Or both. You
Yes.
know, they're threatened by masculinity in its realest forms, and so probably they saw all of this and they were like, "Oh hell no."
I'm hoping this goes live here in a second. It should.
My camera is so much more zoomed out than it is on Substack.
Yeah. Having it on
The
Restream is
opposite.
it should go live here soon. Let me turn off the design logo so it's off your face, Lawrence.
I have I'm going to stop fucking around with your channels. I thought I could add my channel, but alas.
No, you can.
Well, I can, but I have to jump through all the little hoops. Let me see if I can do that while you're...
We should be live, but I'm waiting to see. We're live on YouTube, though.
There we go. It was on front ultra wide camera for some reason.
Well, you know what? If we
it's because
we're live on YouTube, we can. Now you're just flexing and posing, Jacob.
I mean, the front camera was on front ultra wide. I guess it was just anticipating me ahead of time.
Right. Those shoulders are so broad. We have to do the yeah. Well, let's just go and we'll record it to YouTube and then we can download from YouTube and repost.
And we're on Substack now too.
Woohoo!
All right.
Amazing. Well, thank you, Nick, for coming through in a pinch with the technology solution.
I always come through in a pinch.
Ooh, all right. The innuendos start right from the very beginning.
Early, obviously.
Early and often. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Whatever, if that's even what we are at this point. We're some amalgam now of sick of this shit with Nick and A for T, which Jacob, you're gonna have to tell us what that means.
Yes.
And the Daily Whatever. And I'm Lawrence Winterman. I'm excited to be here with Nick Paro of Sick of This Shit and Banner and Backbone, my co-founder in Banner and Backbone, and Jacob Summers. Jacob, tell the people who you are, other than this tattooed hunk sitting in front of us right now.
Well, thank you. So my name is Jacob Summers. I will also be, as soon as I can free up some time, trying to help out with and contribute to Banner and Backbone as well. I've not forgotten about that. But I just recently started my own Substack podcast, A4T. Which started off as basically A40, almost 40, because I just turned 39, and it's trying to journal my next year as I cross that hump and I crest over the hill, and me actually finally taking the time because I had an epiphany that I needed to buckle down into things I actually wanted to do. It's also a play on words. It's also all four things: mind, body, heart, and soul. Basically, the things I'm working on for the next year, like dialing in on those things. I'm a veteran. I'm a gym owner. I'm a bartender. I'm a coach and an owner of 5 dogs. So I served with Nick over here. So we actually were in the military together. So yeah, and despite the previous announcement, I am in fact not Gen Z, but shaving the beard's not going to help dissuade anybody on that. So
yeah, you look younger than you did the last time I saw you, and more like Chris Evans each time. Like, I think that's the appeal you're going for. I'm assuming it is. Or Chris Evans is going for the appeal you have. But either way, like,
right,
it works.
Yeah.
It's
like, oh gosh, do I look like a superhero? Oopsie.
Oh, sorry.
Let me wonder.
So
now it's for a whole job thing. It won't be permanent.
In the comments, and the chat, because Brandon has said you might get more viewers if Jacob takes off his shirt. Just saying. But we're not an audience show, so we can't go there yet.
Well, you know I have no shame, so don't tempt me with a good time. So
maybe we'll save that for the end, Jacob, so that as people begin to re-engage with the new live,
they don't kick us off ahead of time.
Yeah. Well, I already intentionally wore the tank top for today's show since we were talking about various expressions of masculinity. So I was like, this seems like a good time to wear the tank top and alive.
Well, I, for one, am not going to complain.
Well done.
If you haven't heard, I don't complain either.
Yeah. which is the whole point, right, of this conversation. I thought it would be really interesting. Nick, you and I have become friends over the course of the last month or so. And as a part of that, I was really kind of delighted to hear that you self-identify as a bi man. Not, because I'm into bears and I think you're a cutie, but because I think it's awesome when dudes identify as bi, right? Because there's so much stigma in the society around bisexuality. Around queerness in general. And then Jacob, meeting you through the course of the Banner and Backbone launch, you're very open about being pansexual and kind of, embracing all of the aspects of your masculinity and your sexuality. And so I thought this could potentially be a really great conversation for the three of us around, what is it like to be a dude in 2025? What is it like for the two of you coming from, a military background? What does it mean to be a man who's comfortable with his sexuality, And so it's not just the setup for a joke, a gay guy, a bi guy, and a pansexual guy walk into a bar, right? It's like, what kind of conversation could we have, if we're all comfortable being honest in who we are and kind of embracing our sexualities. So that was kind of the foundation. Fuck Substack's technical difficulties for abbreviating this conversation, because I feel like we could have a really long and amazing conversation about this. So maybe this is just part one. But I thought it would be cool, Nick, maybe if you want to kick us off and talk about why it's important to you to be honest about your sexual identity, and maybe how you've wrestled with that, and kind of where you're at now in terms of, presenting your sexuality to people.
Yeah. So for those who, obviously you all know me because I was the one who launched this today, but for those who don't know, maybe not know me, is I'm Nick. I run the Sick of This Shit publication and I write poetry. And I wrestled with my sexuality for a long time because I have always been very into women. I'll say it up front. Very into women, always have been. I've never had a boyfriend. I've never had any of that type of experience on that side. And that's okay. And I think that's okay too for people who are gay or bisexual or pansexual or any of that. Is it's okay if you haven't had any experience physically with other people that would be considered like sexual, because sexual experiences and physical experiences aren't just like physical, they're emotional too, and like bondings, and you can make friends and have they call them bromances, I guess is what straight people now call them, but it's being comfortable writing and talking about yourself and expressing yourself, and it's taken me a long time to get there. I started out going to school as a music theory and composition major. I have a degree in it. I write classical music. I've always been more on the artistic side. I can't dance to save my fucking life. At least not in a traditional dance. I can mosh my ass off though.
I'm nodding at me, but also yes, you.
Like you can see too. Like I'm wearing earring. Like I have my ears gauged. I always wanted to get my eyebrow gauged. I never did, but it's taken me a long time to accept who I was. And I joined the Army. I met my wife through the Army, and we've been happily married for over 10 years at this point. And it was actually during our marriage that I realized it, and she was okay with that. And that's the great thing, and why we're so okay with why we're married is because it's okay that I'm bi, because we get to enjoy the same things in life now. Like we both get to enjoy looking at men and women. We get to enjoy being comfortable with ourselves, where I can express myself at a rock concert or a rock series with shorts cut off to 1 inch inseams and my boxers pulled all the way in, so I got my ass fucking hanging out and basically my dick hanging out, and willing and like half naked and going on a tour of a camp and just hugging on, loving on people. And most of the people that come up to me are men, like, and I'm fine with that. And it's okay because I finally admitted that it's okay that I'm attracted to men too.
Yeah.
And I think that's, for me at least, I don't know if it's pansexual, bisexual, whatever. Jake over there fucking flexing his pecs off at us.
Believe it or not, that's not intentional. I'm not trying to do that. I'm sorry.
My nervous
See, I
habit
can
is
do that
like
too,
my
Jake,
pecs.
but mine are just bigger.
Let's see
Mine
if
are
I try
more
to do it
boobs.
intentionally.
Mine are more boobs than pecs.
Yeah,
But,
mine
like,
are a
it's
work in progress.
yeah, mine are a work in progress, just in the other progression.
Hey.
Actually, no, I've lost 10 pounds since I've.
Yay! Congratulations. Hopefully,
I lost 10 pounds since I lost my job. Actually, my last job, I lost 10 pounds, which means I lost stress and weight of the bullshit from them, and I was able to get healthier. So, but yeah, that's my big story. Is like it's taken me a long time to get here, and be comfortable with who I am.
Well, it is brave, and I love this story. And Jacob, I'm going to ask you the same thing, but I just want to kind of comment on what Nick said. That I think it's, I don't know if you've noticed this, Nick. So my boyfriend and I also like scoping people together, right? And it's actually kind of a really hot bonding experience.
Yeah.
So, I'm imagining, I'm not trying to project my reality onto you, but I'm hoping that you and your wife kind of go to these concerts and you scope out hot people together and then go home completely turned on by the experience and, have amazing intimate moments kind of inspired by what you've seen and done together.
Yeah. And I obviously won't reveal anything that my wife would kill me for.
Of course.
But yes, like, absolutely. Like, we both come home excited and happy. And I've also found too, like, as becoming like aware of who I am sexually and understanding what I enjoy and like accepting that pleasure for a man doesn't always have to be putting a penis inside a vagina. Like, I enjoy providing sex, like, to my wife. Like, I enjoy the things that make her happy because I've been able to understand, like, oral sex is fun. And I'm happy to, like, Fred says it really well, is like, you start at you put the legs around the head, like, you fortify your neck and your shoulders, and you go and you find your way north. And when you get to the compass point, you stop and you stay and you go deeper and you enjoy. You let her enjoy. And I found that I get a lot of enjoyment from things like that too.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have let myself get enjoyment from that, or toys or sexual things that are less considered manly, because like, men don't admit that they like that their G-spot's in their ass. Like, men don't like to admit that, but that's where it is. And like, it's okay to say that. And so my wife and I have found some really good, like, bonding experiences because we're willing to experiment sexually with ourselves because we're open to the idea of who we are. And yeah, it does make things a lot better. I come away at the end just as exhausted and breathless as my wife does. And like, that's the whole point of sex, isn't it?
Yeah, that absolutely, man. That's, gay, straight, bi, pan, whatever. The whole point is you and your partner giving each other pleasure and taking as much pleasure out of giving as you get.
Yeah, I think just the final thought on that is the thing that I learned out of all of this was I learned how to give in sex. Is not because I haven't done anything with a man. I've never touched. I've only looked, but it's allowed me to learn. Like, I go to your dirty talks and I learn because it's earnest information that you're providing, and I understand, and I can, like, be happy looking at men and understand why my wife likes or doesn't like certain things because it's not comfortable or is comfortable and things like that. So it makes me a better spouse, I think.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Thanks for your vulnerability and being honest and sharing with us today. Jacob,
and it lets me write
can...
letters to Jacob without feeling like it's weird, because I'm okay with writing a very open and honest expression of friendship and bromance to my friend in the same way that I would write a letter to my wife.
Yeah. Yeah,
love you too,
I love it. And that kind of
look at that. Oh, it exploded on my screen in hearts. That was
cool. I know.
I don't fucking know what happened, and I don't know if it showed up on Substack, but that was cool.
Nick, geez, calm down, bro. Like,
oh shit, it did show up on Substack. That's so cool.
Let's see. Damn it, I've got to turn mine on, but I think I have to.
Oh, it's an Apple expression.
Oh wait,
setting.
Did it do that because it read the fact that?
Yeah, if you have
Apple,
like a gesture
if
thing?
you have the Apple gestures turned on, it will.
Yeah.
Oh, you just
fucking cool.
Oops.
Yeah, I got to turn that on the iPad. It just gave me the prompt on the iPad, but I think I'd have to exit out of this, and I'm not going to do that right now. But yeah.
But now we have found magic.
Right. Yeah. Right. And now we can't.
If this show wasn't gay enough.
Make it gayer. It can always be gayer.
Right. Why aren't they rainbow hearts?
These are rookie numbers.
Yeah, come on, Restream. Let's do better. Let's do better, Apple.
Jacob, talk to us about your journey. Like, if you can stop popping your pecs there for 1 second, man.
Anyway, I'll do it. So first off, if you see me looking over, I've just got the phone over here to look at some of the comments in here as we're talking. But so a lot of what Nick said, I resonate with, and then I've got some additional, basically unique experiences to it. So I always knew that I always considered myself to be, for lack of a better word, hetero plus. Anytime somebody asked me what I was, I'd just say, I don't fucking care. First off, am I allowed to cuss on your podcast? I mean, okay.
Yeah. No, I mean,
okay.
Yeah,
I always
whatever, and we'd call it the fucking whatever if we thought
Eagle Jizz.
Eagle Jizz. I know that on all the other ones, yes, but I like to be courteous. But yeah, no, I always consider myself hetero plus. If anybody was like, "What are you?" I'd just say I'm Jacob. I don't fucking care. Like, but when I was in the military, I had a very unique experience, and that at the end of basic training, we're doing our FTX, and they're like, "Wait, you're not gay?" And I went, no, why? I'm not offended, because even when I was 100% thought I was straight, I just never had any issue with anybody around me. I just always saw it as you're my human being, whether I understand it or not. That's your life, and I love you. And it's not just I don't want to hear it. It's like, no, tell me about your life. I may not understand it, but it's not up to me. It's a big world. But I was like, I'm not offended. But why do you think that? And I'm like, well, because you speak like that. And I went, what? And I was like, you mean I enunciate? They're like, yeah, that right there. They're like, and you're too clean. Right. And I was like, so because
you knew the word enunciate, which
because I have a vocabulary and I practice proper hygiene, I am gay. And they're like, yeah, that. And I was like, okay, whatever. And then I went on to later in the military, they called me the most flamboyant straight man they had ever met. Should have known at the time. But I am in that position where until I think I was 34 or 35 when I came out, maybe a little bit younger. I'm 39 now. So it's only been 4, 5, 6 years since I came out. And I was already married, still am. This is my second marriage, and I'm married to a woman. So I'll go into that in a second as far as how it affects it. But when I came out, I had the unique experience that when I finally came, first off, when I told my wife, she said, no shit. And that was me coming out as bi at the time. I went to go tell my parents, and I was sitting in a Waffle House, and I was like, I know I'm in my 30s, but it still makes me feel a little bit nervous. So I told them, and they started laughing, and I was like, what? And they're like, we've known since you were 6 years old. Every 6 months, we ask each other when you're going to come out to us. And so I had a lot of support coming out. So that is one of the advantages of this day and age, is that it is more widespread for there to be more acceptance. It's not universal still. Obviously, it's not perfect. Right. And my parents are great people, but basically in this day and age, it's not as stressful to come out across the board. It depends on how you were raised, but it's become more and more prevalent. The downsides that I found is because ever since I Nick knew me around this time, like around 2012 is when I really started to work out. Like 2011, 2012. Went into the Army in 2011. I had done some training to go before I went in because I thought I was going Air Force combat controller. So there was some gym stuff, but it wasn't until 2012 I started working out. And I already had that unique exposure of you put on muscle. If I'm gonna try to use terms that I know y'all will understand, but I know some people are like, you can't say that. Every bear and twink that I knew were like, oh, you put on muscle, you are game now. And
Right.
that did not bother me, but like that's what I mean by like none of that bothered me. The male attention, anything, as long as it was respectful, it didn't bother me. If it was disrespectful, I'd treat it like if I was uncomfortable with a woman on that. So that part didn't bother me. What bothered me was that once I got back home out of the army, um, there's you always get that question of, okay, so you're married, whether it's to a man or a woman, but since you came out, you must not be monogamous. And now, over the years, have I discovered that I am open to being poly? Absolutely. I have discovered, just like my awakening as to my own sexual identity, I've not had sex with a man, but I have made out with many men. And but you get that question, but it's almost like it's an expectation, and then they get upset when you tell them no. Like I'm
Right.
sitting there going, I'm not a, I am honored that you asked me that, but at the same time, getting upset that I tell you that, for now, at least as the way things stand, we're still monogamous because I came out after entering into this relationship, and I love this human being. If Lindsay woke up tomorrow and thought that she identified as a man and she was transgender, I'd stay with her because that's what came to my pansexual awakening was that it's very much that hearts not parts. And people look at me when I say that like I'm batshit crazy. They're like, oh, so if your wife is suddenly a man, you'd still love her? Yeah, I love him. Yes. Yes, I
Right.
absolutely would because it's that heart, mind, body, and
Yes.
soul. But like that is who I am in love with. Do I love the part she's got right now? Absolutely. But if she woke up and we wanted to, transition, I'd still be in love with her, him. So that's what made me realize that was I had done some content creation, which had led me to explore part of my identity. And then even after I stopped doing that, I realized, yes, I'm bi. And then realizing that I would love my partner no matter or they identified as was that. And then I started looking around and going, oh, it really is pan. I still introduce myself to people as bi more often than not, just because that's how I identified for years. It's
Yeah.
not hiding, it's just it was my default. And sometimes it is okay if I'm around straight-laced Northport, Tuscaloosa, Alabama, saying bi is easier than explaining what pansexual is.
Sure.
And I'll shut up in just a second. I'm sorry.
No, you're
Um,
good. You're good.
but the other thing is that cultural regional area really does change the dynamic with things because down here, less and less people bat an eye if I'm gay, bi, pan, whatever. They either accept it or they don't, but they leave you the fuck alone. And it's very much an out of sight, out of mind. And I'm like, look, if that's the worst I've got to deal with, then I can work with that. Out of sight, out of mind, whatever. Like they go their way, I go mine. Cool. Best case, they're like, oh hey, no, you're be what you are. We'll drink with you, watch the football game with you, whatever. I can be your token bi buddy, whatever. But the thing that I've experienced down here is that there is this real corner of the community that has this territorialness that assumes as though they saw you and they had a crush on you first, that you are marked as their territory and you don't get to take issue with that. And everybody, almost like it's a dog pissing on the corner to mark their territory. And that has been the most difficult part of me coming out as bi and pan, is being a bearded, tatted, muscular guy who's pansexual, relationship or not, because I'm also somebody who's agreeable, who likes to make new acquaintances, network, and friends. I have dealt with so many stalkers, light stalkers, heavy stalkers, unwanted attention,
Yeah.
where there's no respect for boundaries, and that's for me disappointing because if it's a community, and obviously we're not one big connected community, like we'd like to be, but we're not.
Yeah.
But if it is going to be a culture or community built on acceptance and inclusivity, there always needs to be a layer of respect. and I'm getting that more from the younger crowd. But this is no respects to the older gays. Allegiance to you, Lawrence. But
He
but
called
the
you
old.
old,
I'm not that
Lawrence.
old. I'm only 55.
I said
You're
older,
buying
not
this,
elder. You're
huh?
technically older than me. I
I know. I
didn't
know.
say,
It's true. It's true.
but the ones down here, it's like 75% toxic, 25% not. And
Yeah.
so that is what we're having to deal with
That's
is that
not just
generational
Alabama, my
transition.
friend. It's not just where
Okay.
you are. That's
Yeah.
queer culture, and I'll tell you why. It's because older gay men, right? Like people Gen X, my generation and above, because coming out was harder, and because many of us stayed in the closet, much longer and later. I mean, you two are kind of, in some ways, mirroring the older coming out experience because you came out into your sexualities later, not in your teens or your 20s. But older gay men, and I'm speaking, for gay men now or possibly older bi men, I think kind of living through the AIDS pandemic when it really was not safe and all of the cultural pressure, I think there's a lot of toxicity that got built up in people, right? Like I'm admitting that I've had to work through my own issues. My boyfriend and I have an open relationship, but a lot of the kind of possessive piece, Jacob, that you're talking about, that resonates with me. I went through my experience kind of seeing that in myself and then processing it and working through it. And I think it was really inspired by kind of a scarcity mentality of like, oh my God, there's one person that I'm attracted to. Like I haven't met anybody else. I must glom on to this one person, and I think a lot of it gets tied up with like toxic Disney fantasy too, right? Like all three of us are quite handsome in our own ways. And I think people, let me tell you, if I had had any idea when I was a kid that like at 55, I was going to be the hot daddy that all the bears went after, it would have blown my mind.
I would have had a lot more sex if I realized I was pan sooner in life. And I know it's not about sex, but I do think about it. I was like, if I had gotten to that point sooner, just general enjoying my existence as a human being, but also, yes, sex.
Yeah, I mean, I was in a fraternity in college the first time around, and I
right,
hadn't
and nothing gay
realized.
ever happens in a
And
fraternity.
nothing gay ever happens in fraternity.
Or the Marines,
or the
military,
Marines,
whatever.
or the Army,
or
any
anywhere men gather, right?
We had Man Love Friday in the barracks, and that was a bunch of
Yeah.
straight men.
Yeah,
Anyway.
like they name things like as fairly gay as they can.
Oh, yeah.
It's interesting how like straight men, and it's funny too because straight men talk about penises more than gay men do. But I think it's maybe. Maybe. But I mean, at least straight men in a group together that haven't acknowledged that maybe they're bi or pansexual. And
Right.
I think maybe like for me, I think I say bi over pansexual because I would love, like, if my wife transitioned, if that was ever a decision she made, I'd love her still as a he. Why? Just like Jacob said, it's hearts not parts. Like I love my wife for her brain and her personality and the things she brings to add to my happiness. Because that's something we found out 2 years ago after 10 years of marriage. I have some marriage advice, and I know giving marriage advice out is like a dime a dozen for everybody. But for me, it has worked. Is we admitted that, and we're okay with the idea that we love each other too because of the fact that we add to happiness and we don't make each other happy. My wife doesn't make me happy. It's not her responsibility for my happiness. I'm happy on my own. She just adds to my happiness and it makes me feel better because then when we do things together, we're adding our happinesses together. It's like a subtle way of changing how we think about what our happiness level is to each other. That way, we're not dependent, but we depend with each other.
Right.
Like we're codependent with each other, not because of each other.
That's a really, I think, intelligent and evolved way of looking at it. And I think that, Jacob, it kind of goes back to the earlier point of like the people who see you and get really possessive and, and pee on you, which I laughed at that metaphor because it is so spot on when it comes to dudes. that's an evolved way of looking at it, Nick, right? That your happiness doesn't depend on another person. If you aren't happy on your own, if you can't make yourself happy, you are not going to be happy trying to find it in another person. Yeah, Jacob, you want to say something?
Yeah, sorry, I wasn't trying to cut you off. If you need to finish, I'll shut up.
No, go.
Okay. So first
Yeah,
off, you saw the double eyebrows. You will.
Yeah.
Nick knows this. My eyebrows have a life of their own. So, but when two go up, it's like, there's a point coming. Um, First off, I did want to agree with Nick. Like the way I always said it is, I did not get with my partner to complete my life. I got with my partner to share my life with them. But second off, and I know this is going to be a big point, but there was a post recently where whether it's real or not, I haven't verified it, where basically it was Obama saying that everybody needs somebody who's LGBTQ in their life because it rounds them out as a human being. What the biggest component that me coming out as pan and gender fluid, I identify as he, him, but in my head up here, gender doesn't mean two shits. Um, but one of the things that really drove home is I thought I understood the female experience before coming out as pan, and I do not pretend to be female or to co-opt that or anything like that. That's not where I'm going with this. But what I am saying is firsthand getting to experience what it's like to be objectified by men on a regular basis, to basically be claimed as though I'm a piece of property in person and in messages and the male gaze. And basically it started going I used to take offense to the men do this, and then you get the guys that go not all men, and I was like, yeah, but the expression not all men, but why is it always a man?
Right,
is like I have vibed with every passing day since I've come out as pansexual. This thought that some man can be in my inbox trying to hit me up and they won't take no for an answer, and there's this automatic ownership of it. And then the fact that I can be out someplace and some guy thinks that because I'm a guy in gold booty shorts or whatever, that it's okay to slap my ass or pinch me. And to an extent, I tolerate some of that because I am a flirty, physical human being. But there's still lines and limits to that. You got to be willing to take a no, and it basically means that you don't need to automatically assume just because you know that about that person that that's okay. So, but yeah, so no, it opened me up to that perspective, and again, I don't even pretend to have dived down the entire existence or my life of being a woman and being subjected to that. There's way more nuance and way more layers to that.
Yeah.
But in talking with all of my female presenting friends, they're like, yeah, no, you're getting a taste of it, and I've had that taste since getting in shape, but definitely since coming out as bi and pan. So.
You know how you know this is a good conversation is because I have like 10 points that I want to make.
I do that all the time.
And we don't have the time to do it, which is making me crazy. But there's a comment in the chat. So and Julie and a couple other folks are like, how is pan different from bi? And I mean, the way that I would define it is pan is, like you said, Jacob, it's hearts, not parts. It's really not so much about the, physical kind of genitalia or presentation. It's about the person. And I know that there are other terms that also sort of mean that, because now we have, 117 different gender expressions or whatever. How would you guys define bi and pan, and if there's a difference?
I personally, this one gets complicated because people get tripped up over the language of this if I don't phrase this in a certain way. But I'm going to speak candidly, but also try to be respectful. So everybody assumes that bi, man and woman, pan, man, woman, and everybody in between, non-binary, gender fluid, everything. Yes, but not just that, because people will assume that means that bisexual people, by that definition, are transphobic. And transphobic has nothing to do with it. It means that if you're talking about strictly parts and gender expression, yeah, I would say that yes, that somebody who is bisexual in general, and Nick can speak to that better, but in general tends to be attracted almost exclusively to somebody who presents as a generally expressed male or female by what we would call norms. But there's no such thing. But that's not 100% true either. But if you're looking at it strictly, yeah, man, woman, gender fluid, non-binary, all of that. But really, the bigger meaning, as somebody put in the comments, is that pan is about the personality. It really means you are attracted to that person. You have the ability to be attracted to any person, and not in the way that straight people will try. Some straight people will try to minimize it and say, "Oh, but I can find a guy hot, and I'm not gay." No, I don't mean like you think he's attractive. I mean like in a different situation or setting, you would shoot your shot. And so that, but pan means that that can be with literally anybody. It's up to that individual person. So they could meet all of your physical criteria and you still wouldn't be attracted to them. But there's somebody can meet none of yours and you can be attracted to in more than just a superficial way to that person. So
What
pan
really
is all
resonate,
encompassing.
yeah, what really resonates about this for me is, I knew when I was like 6 that I was different, right? And by the time I was 13, 14, I knew I was gay and I didn't want to be. And then I came out at 23 and I have lived my life as a gay man. And it is only within like the last 5 or 10 years that I've realized, oh, I'm not a Kinsey 6. Like I'm not hard pegged to that Kinsey 6. Oh, no puns intended. All puns intended.
All puns intended. Phrasing.
There are women, right? Phrasing.
We're not doing phrasing anymore.
Right. We're always doing phrasing.
Always doing phrasing.
There are women that turn me on, right? And like they're rare. They're few and far between for me, but I have met them. And the more that I meet kind of diverse groups of people, I realize, oh, there are trans women that I'm really attracted to. There are trans men that I'm really attracted to, so I'm kind of on this journey, maybe coming from the other direction from you guys, right? Rather than starting off as being, kind of completely hetero identified, I'm realizing for myself that when I'm comfortable with myself, I'm interested in all kinds of people. And part of what that meant for me was really coming to terms with the fact that I'm a bottom, right? And, Jacob, you were saying something earlier about kind of identifying with the feminine. I forget exactly the context, but, maybe folks have heard me talk about this on Dirty Talk with Fusen, but like, man, when my boyfriend and I are going at it and I'm in that receptive state, I identify with this sacred feminine energy of like receiving the masculine, and holy fucking shit, is it amazing. Like,
and that's
letting yourself experience that whole spectrum and saying that's okay. I think I say bye only because really I only ever said it like a couple weeks ago. It was like the first time I said it on a live where somebody heard it outside my family. I think I only say it because it was the most like upfront term that I was thinking of, and like truly it would be more pansexual because I don't care. Like I've already said in this, and as many of you already know about me, like from what you've seen in my lives, like I'm very open about who I am and what I believe in, that I value in sanctity of life, and it doesn't matter. To me, I think the big thing it's a journey. Like that's the fun part, is it's a journey. Like we get to like, yeah, that expectation that we're not monogamous is always a weird one. Like every time, like my wife and I always get close with our friends. Like we have couples that we are always close with, and we have always found that we're close with other couples, but we have never done any of that. Sure. It's been assumed multiple times by people, and it's been asked to us multiple times, but it's never been our preference to swap spouses or to go with somebody else or take somebody's spouse.
Hey, Nick, I want to be respectful. I know that you've got a show that you've got to be doing right now. Thank you so much for setting this up on Restream. Everybody, thank you for sticking with us and coming to find us over here. We're really grateful. Jacob, it's been so great to get to chat with you and finally, have a conversation. Thanks you guys for coming to do this. And I feel like there's a bigger conversation here. I feel like we could do this again, maybe without some technical difficulties. And
we need a part 2. Yeah.
I think we could probably have like part 2, 3, 4, 5, 10.
Right. Maybe it's a new show, right?
Yeah, maybe it's a new show. Banner and Backbone is all about engaging in meaningful ways to re-engage civics, which is community, which is building your communities and
Yeah.
making our communities stronger. And we need to understand it's okay. Like,
Yeah.
we're all
And
part
it
of the
really
same
aligns
community.
with the GenXy, vibe that Dana and I are trying to create, right? Where
Yeah.
we're exploring culture and the ways that culture is changing. And it's not just about Gen X, it's about all
We're
of us.
millennials.
Yeah.
I'm a millennial.
Yeah, no, the two of you are millennials. It's not about age. It's about kind of being willing to embrace the fact that, the facts on the grounds change, and, and we can change with the times and as we discover new aspects of ourselves. So thank you guys. Thank you everybody for being here. Awesome, awesome show. Great conversation. Appreciate both of you. Thanks everybody. Have a good one.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank y'all. Thank you, everybody.
Bye.
If I can figure out where the end is.
Right.